You know why I'm here. Let's talk about the Russell Wilson trade and everything that comes with Russell Wilson officially being traded to the Denver Broncos. What it really means for the Seattle Seahawks. This video is going to be probably around 7 minutes long. It's not going to be very long because the analysis is up in the air, really, because we have to talk about Seattle's draft history, and I have an extensive beef with who they have drafted, and I have no faith that with the draft capital that they have brought in, with the 2 first-round picks and the 2 second-round picks, I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to be able to capitalize to make this deal definitively a winner for Seattle. Right now, I don't think Seattle really lost this trade. If you think about the situation that Seattle has been in, a lot of national media hasn't been paying attention to directly what's been going on in Seattle, specifically with the roster just not being up to par and Russell Wilson truly carrying this team into contention most years. But now, this year, when you saw him leave because of the finger injury, you saw clearly as day they were not good. They were not a good enough roster. I've been saying this for years. The cornerback room is atrocious. Ever since Shaquille Griffin left for the Jaguars for a big contract, the entire back area of that defense was going to be horrific. Jamal Adams was a reach. And there's a lot of other players on the Seattle roster that could be up in the air for their future with the team, such as Bobby Wagner, Tyler Lockett. But that's for another video for another day. We're going to specifically talk about the benefits and then the negatives that come with this trade, specifically on Seattle's side, because I'll quickly run through why it's a good thing for the Broncos. You bring in a elite level quarterback that you haven't had since Peyton Manning, which potentially means that you are in Super Bowl contention in one of the toughest divisions of all of football. But at the end of the day, you have a big time chance to win the Super Bowl this year with the roster that you've constructed. You didn't have to give off of Bradley Chubb, which is someone that I really was hoping to be in this trade. I was praying that Bradley Chubb or maybe Courtland Sutton or potentially Jerry Jeudy. It's just going to be really on Nathaniel Hackett on how well he wants his team to be. If Nathaniel Hackett doesn't work out, you have just wasted another year of Russ's prime years. I mean, he's really coming off of his prime years to say, and he might be a little bit more injury prone, but I still think you have plenty of really good years with Russell Wilson. As much as he's a mobile quarterback, he has some fantastic arm talent and accuracy and all that. So I think he'll be pretty good for the Broncos. I would say his career has probably about 6 years left, and whether he's still on the Broncos by then, as long as you win a Super Bowl, that's all that really matters now in the league. That's why I believe the Broncos made this move, and John Elway and Nathaniel Hackett, they went all in to try to go get a quarterback. And I mean, this is really about going all in. You are sacrificing your next couple years in draft capital to try to hopefully that people will want to come in and play for Russell Wilson. Not only do you have a great roster, but I'm sure there's guys that are going to want to go play for him. I mean, it's an elite level quarterback going into the AFC in the Mile High area. I think there's plenty of reason that people will want to go play for Russell Wilson. But I don't really see a lot of negatives unless they don't win a Super Bowl. That it's pretty point blank, black and white with the Broncos. Now, with the Seattle Seahawks, there's a lot of variables as you are moving off of your best player in your entire franchise, honestly. And it's disappointing to watch this just because I'm a Seahawks fan. I have a Russell Wilson bright neon green jersey that's going to be sitting there, and he's my favorite player in the league, and it's heartbreaking. But as you know, I've been calling for this ever since my video came out about the Seahawks. I've been begging for them to fire Pete Carroll and to move off of Russell Wilson because I truly didn't see this team competing in the next couple years. And I don't think that it was going to happen even if they kept Russ and tried to dig their feet in the ground and try to make more. I think the situation was going to get worse from there. And I think this year is just an example of why he needed to get moved off of. And I think moving off of his contract is probably the biggest win for Seattle right now in the short term, as you now have plenty of cap flexibility, I believe. I haven't really looked at the numbers. They may still have some cap issues as you still have Jamal Adams. Potentially, they may end up paying Bobby Wagner, but I don't think he's going to stay on the roster. I think he might get moved to, the Texans for a 3rd or 4th round pick. Not to mention Tyler Lockett's probably going to want to get moved as he was Russell Wilson's favorite target. And potentially, I wouldn't even be surprised if he ended up at the Broncos as well, because there's so many reasons to think that he could end up really anywhere. Not to mention, we have to talk about DK Metcalf. He's losing his quarterback. But I do believe Drew Lock is still in contention to have a pretty solid career in Seattle if he does end up playing well next year. I mean, we'll talk about Shane Waldron in the LA Rams offense was very short pass-based, run game-based. And I think Rashad Penny might have a full year where he's finally healthy potentially, but that's another if. And Drew Lock is now going to be in a system where he has to throw the ball short. He's not in a situation where they really want to win, so he's not going to be pressured to potentially be that guy. I think this year is a prove-it year for him to potentially still be a starting level quarterback, and I think he has the talent to do so. It's just whether or not he puts in the work to actually make that happen. I think Shane Waldron's going to make him have the most efficient season of his career, but he's going to have to show some actual superstar potential, because I don't want Seattle to make this mistake in the draft. It's specifically number 9. They have met with Malik Willis, and I am a huge Malik Willis fan. I think he's my QB1 in this draft. I think he has all the intangibles and the talent to be a really good quarterback, but I would not pick him because I would not want him to sit behind a guy like Drew Lock, a young guy who might have some character issues. I'm not in the locker room, so I'm not sure, but he's definitely not a guy I want a young quarterback to potentially develop behind. I would definitely want a veteran like, I don't know, like a Fitzpatrick. I don't really know what veterans could be out there, but Malik Willis is a guy I think should be in a better situation than Seattle, and Seattle has way bigger holes to fix on that defense and that offense that could be fixed at number 9. Like, if a Kyle Hamilton fell at number 9, I would pick him in a heartbeat and trade Quandre Diggs for a 3rd pick or trade Jamal Adams. Like, that's a generational talent sitting at 9, and I would not want to reach for a quarterback this year because honestly, with you trading for Drew Lock, quarterback is not a need right now. It's next year when you have 2 first-round picks and say you need to move up, or say Drew Lock sucks and you end up getting a top 3 pick. I mean, there's CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. There's plenty of guys in next year's draft that are capable, like, top quarterbacks that we're not even debating if there's even a starting quarterback like we are this year. I do think Seattle has to fix a lot of holes, and the reason why I'm not as optimistic as I usually would be on a trade like this, they have not shown that they can actually capitalize on these drafts. Many years in a row, they have kind of tried to dodge the question and really have avoided the obvious picks just to almost like toy with us as the 12th man. And I really do believe that Pete Carroll might need to get moved off of, because, I mean, they have made no moves in the front office that makes me believe that they can actually make a trade and potentially capitalize on those draft picks that they're bringing in. Now, I do think that this is a breaking point for the years coming forward when it comes to the front office, because we have to mention, like, if they don't hit on these draft picks, like, this could be a 10-year rebuild for the Seattle Seahawks. They have decent amount of talent, but they're going to need a lot of young players to come in and really revamp this franchise if they want to keep the front office. And Pete Carroll, they need to get a guy young and new and fresh. Like, I don't know why we're keeping Pete Carroll, because it's the same logic with Russell Wilson of, well, if he's not going to help compete in the next 2 years, maybe you hope Pete Carroll's able to develop these guys, but he hasn't proven to do that in the past couple years. And you have one draft where you got Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, and all this, and you were able to build the Legion of Boom. You're not going to be able to do that again. I do believe Sauce Gardner would be an interesting pick at 9. I still think it's risky to go corner that early when there's other big-time needs. And I swear, if they go with the edge rusher from Florida State, who I'm not very high on at all, I think they should go edge at number 9. Honestly, if I were to pick, I think edge rusher, there's plenty of really good guys in this draft to really help that pass rush that was so atrocious, because what helps an atrocious defense, specifically on the secondary level, they have really good back-end guys, and bringing in Jamal Adams, who I hopefully will be in the box a lot more, having a good pass rush will help negate some of the negatives on the defensive back area. And I know I've rambled on a bunch, but I'm sad. I knew it was going to happen. If you want to go see my Seahawks video where I talk about this and how I kind of predicted for things to happen, I'm disappointed, and my original reaction was, oh, we lost the trade, we suck. But the more I think about it, moving off of that contract and moving on into the next generation, hopefully moving off of Pete Carroll, is the best move for this franchise. And I'll be interested to see what they do in this draft. I can finally really get invested in the draft this year. As previous years, it's almost been like the Rockets, where they never really have a really good first-round pick until recently, actually. And I'll be very interested to see what they go with at 9. I don't want to go with Malik Willis, and I'll come out with a mock draft pretty soon. But thank you so much for watching. If you are a first-time viewer, please leave a sub. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of this summer. It's my goal to be making these videos for you guys, getting paid to do it, doing anything. It's not about the money, but I mean, I just love doing this for you guys. And honestly, 1,000 subs would be a miracle. I would love it. This is me talking straight to you. Like, I would love this. It would be honestly a big goal of mine, and something I've dreamed about doing one day is just even 1,000. That I could rest at 1,000, and the next step would be 10,000, and we would just continue to grind and grow together. But thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and if you don't decide to sub today, that is completely understandable, and have a wonderful day.